True relationship is two imperfect people refusing to give up on each other.
Good quote. I won't let you go. That is the episode for episode 7 of Finding Us the Podcast. That's all about relationship. So we're going to dive into relationships, not just marriage, but relationships all around.
Yes. Friendships.
Friendships.
Family relationships.
Boyfriend, girlfriend.
Romantic relationships.
All the things. All the relationships. So that's what we're going to get into today on Finding Us the Podcast.
With Chad and Fallon.
We're back, Finding Us the Podcast. Welcome. Hope everyone out there is having a lovely day today. Hopefully the weather is beautiful.
Yes.
The skies are blue. They might not be. I don't know. I haven't looked at what the weather's going to be. But, all the fun stuff. What have you been up to?
Personally?
Fill them in.
Or professionally?
Either one.
Okay. So personally, over the past couple weeks, I've done a lot of self-care. I've scheduled a lot and had a lot of coffee dates with friends. And I got my first massage, which is like a monthly must do for me for self-care. And of course, with COVID, I haven't been able to do that in a couple months. So I got a massage and I was really excited.
Oh, I need to get one so bad. It's been so long.
Also, I've been getting the house ready for upcoming birthday celebration.
Yeah.
We're having people over at various times for that. And so my birthday is in a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And also we have family coming in town.
She's got to be 29. But yes, family coming to town.
Oh, you don't say a woman's
Oh, well,
age.
I just did. Stop me.
We'll probably talk about that too, like my 30 before 30 list, but at some point.
What's fun in this time, I want to share with everybody. Every year since we've been together, like whoever's birthday it is just gets surprised. They just show up and the other one, plans it and puts all the energy into making it awesome. Yeah. And this year we made an agreement where we were going to change that up. And so this year, like for my birthday, I pretty much said what I wanted to do, even though I couldn't do much because it was in the middle of the quarantine. Yeah. And so this year for my wife, she's just like taking it upon herself to plan her own stuff and her own get-togethers and just what she wants to do. So there's no oh, you didn't want to do that. My bad. Right.
And naturally, I have planned everything to happen over about a 3-week time period. So I'm really making my birthday month celebration come true, and I love it.
Birthday month celebration.
It's ongoing celebration.
At some point, we should fill in how different our birthdays. We look at holidays and birthdays from families we come from. Those are fun.
Hey, you've actually really enjoyed getting celebrated over the span of at least a weekend. Last year you said how much you loved it.
I did love it.
You were like, oh my gosh, this is great. I totally get why you want to do all the celebrating.
All I have to say, my wife came into the marriage holidays, birthdays, take off work, take the week off. Let's make a huge thing out of it. And I was always just like, I'm not taking off work on birthday.
That's a little,
I know, I'm exaggerating. Anyways, but yeah, the fun times. Personally, for me, what have I been up to? A lot of work. A lot of work. Taking time to do some step work.
You've done some fishing.
I went fishing once. Didn't catch a thing. Again, the streak is continuing that I've not caught a fish in a very long time. Yeah, we've kind of gone into house mode a little bit over the past week, which has been fun. We haven't really, we've moved into a house. We moved in Franklin into a house we built a little over a year now, right? Mm-hmm. And for the first several months, it's just you're just always doing house stuff when you're buying decor or thinking about furniture you want or doing projects around the house. And that's kind of stopped for the past few months. We've kind of just been like, yeah, we're good for a while, And then recently we've kind of been back in ooh, let's get some more decor stuff and let's have fun with that and decorate. My wife loves to put on her Joanna Gaines face and hat. I like face better. Joanna Gaines face. She has a mask of Joanna Gaines and she puts it on. I'm just kidding.
This got creepy.
I mean, in the world of COVID, everything's a mask. Am I right?
That's true.
Anyways, yeah. So that's been fun, right?
Yeah,
Fun.
It's been fun.
Yeah, it's pretty much me professionally.
Oh, you mean personally?
Personally,
You almost got me confused. Professionally, we shot 5 videos in 4 hours. I think it was last week or the week before. That was work.
It was tiring.
Yeah.
Those videos are coming out, as you're probably seeing. Hopefully, you're seeing.
Yeah. Anxious actually released today.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Or by the time y'all hear this, Anxious will have already been out. So go check that out on our Facebook pages. Yeah. Professionally speaking, just did a lot of Anthem Light shoots this week. Recording some stuff I'm excited about. I've been cranking out some solo music, going into the classic world when it comes to like old school rock music. You know what I mean? I kind of have learned how perfect of a fit that kind of music is for me because everything was so much higher back then. Like the male lead singers of bands were like super high singing tenors. You know what I mean? And everybody, and even the females just were like singing super high all the time. So I'm like, you know what? I was born to sing this stuff. So I'm starting to do that, and it's been really fun. I've been having really fun with it, making a classics album. So yeah, taking some time to do my solo stuff, and then we're gonna be cranking out some more Finding Us stuff. And, it's gonna be fun. So yeah,
sweet. So it is our Q&A time, and we received a question from Caleb Arn, and he said, "This is me. I'm about to step into my 20s. I'm single, but working full time and involved in ministry in different ways, including spoken word poetry," which is so cool.
Spoken word poetry is cool.
I mean, I don't even really know what that is, to be honest. Is it just like a reading of poetry?
Yeah, you've seen this.
That's really neat.
Yeah, some people are incredible at that.
That
it's really fun.
Taps into my Enneagram 4 type, and I'm like,
you would love that.
I would love to go sit and listen.
There's like nights around town, around Nashville and stuff, where you can let it go and listen to people do that.
I need to add that to my 30 before 30 list. Like, I'm getting emotional thinking about it.
That's really cool.
Okay. So he wants to know, for Chad, how should I prepare for my wife I will have someday?
It's
a tough question.
20 years old, 13 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And
dating is so differently now.
Yeah. My honest answer, and hopefully you're asking that question because you want an honest answer.
Of course. Well, I do. I don't know about Caleb.
Yeah, well, hopefully, if you ask a question on this show, you're going to get an honest answer. How about that? I would just say that you don't prepare. You don't have the mind. You shouldn't have the mindset of preparing for your future wife. I think, in my opinion, being in that mindset of preparing for your wife it's like codependency before you even have anyone to be codependent to. You know what I mean? Am I right?
This is your answer.
I know it is. You're over there looking at me like,
oh, wow.
I don't know if you agree with me or not. But I mean, it's just because for me, I've had to learn a few years into marriage how codependent I am and how codependent we have been. And so I'm just, of course, very sensitive to that codependency thing. And all I have to say, if you put in the work, all I have to say, it has to be about you. It has to be about you. Even in your marriage and you're married, the most healthy thing you can do and best thing you can do for your wife is to work on you and to take care of you. That's the best thing you can do for your wife. And so I would say the same thing now, as in how you prepare for your future wife is to focus on you. Do the hard work now. Do the hard inner work now, and everything else will fall into place. I mean, it's also, we're saying like unhealthy, codependent, addictive, whatever you want to call it, people attract unhealthy, codependent, addictive people, you know? And so, if you don't take care of yourself and you start going into that place, wherever whatever that place is, it's a million different things. You're going to attract the same kind of thing. You know what I mean? The same kind of person, the same kind of codependent person, same kind of co-addict. It's a thing, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I'd say like especially being 20 years old, I mean, I personally don't know any 20-year-olds who are working on themselves and doing the hard work now. I mean, because of course at that age, like you still have so much, I say this like I'm an old man, but you have even in being 13 years older than a 20-year-old, like I can look at that and be like, you have so much that you have no idea and that you'll learn, especially in marriage as a single man, all that stuff. And so, just if you were able to start doing the hard work now, I mean, you would be one in a million to any woman out there.
Which would be quite attractive to a woman that is like-minded.
Exactly.
And looking for help.
Which is the kind of woman you want at the end of the day.
Yes.
You know, it is. And so, yeah, the best thing you can do to prepare for your wife is not prepare for your wife, but prepare yourself for anything, any kind of relationship.
That was a really good answer. Yeah.
So
I like it.
Yeah.
I approve.
Well, good.
That was really good.
Your turn. What did he ask you?
So the question for me from Caleb is, what should be major red flags for me to see that a girl isn't into me? This was a tough question for me. I really had to think about it. Chad advised me to think back to in my 20s. So I had to, which I'm not, I'm still in my 20s, but my earlier 20s. And so I had to put myself in those shoes, and I came up with 3 things.
The shoes of where you were.
My young 20-year-old
And what
self.
I experienced with you for years, for the record. Anyway.
So number 1, if she is pursuing, so this is what you're going to look for. If she is pursuing romantic relationships with other guys, obviously, that's a big red flag. If someone is doing that, especially if they are going out with you, or I don't know what the language is for young kids these days, but if y'all are in a committed, we're seeing each other courtship or whatever. So yeah. And to add to that, if she is with you and checked out on her phone to the point of obsession, then she may not be fully invested into the relationship with you, because especially if you're dating, that's the time for your relationship to flourish. You're finding out about all the things about one another. And yeah, I think that if someone is checked out and they're not making it a goal to spend time with you and get to know you and who you are and, do fun activities, then that's a red flag. Okay. Number 2, if she is a soul taker and not a balanced giver in the relationship, meaning she may be using you to get desires met, AKA let's go on a date so I can get a free meal. Or let's go on a date for so we can go rock climbing and you can pay for it.
Yeah. You can't, if you're just listening to the audio, not the video, I'm shaking my head very big. It's such a big thing.
Just watch out.
Especially in that age, girls love the attention, and they want to make you feel like they're interested in you, but
there's not depth there. And there's not
been there.
Yeah, so that's a big one. Yeah, keep your eye out for that. No, last one, number 3. If she ghosts you, if she is not making time to spend time with you and intentionally not texting or calling you back or not showing up for scheduled dates, then bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia.
Like, get out of here. Nobody has time for that because you are wonderful. You're a wonderful human being. And if another person is choosing to ghost you, then that's their insecurity. That's their issue. And that means they're not for you. And that's totally fine.
Bye,
So,
Felicia.
Bye, Felicia.
That's her answer to all
Those
that.
are my
Bye,
answers.
Felicia. Nice.
Anywho.
Nice. Well, thank you, Caleb. That's a great
those
questions.
were great questions.
Keep the questions coming, people.
Please.
findinguspodcast@gmail.com. Send them as an audio, preferably.
Yeah.
And we'll play them here
Yeah.
as a question. And if not, just type them like Caleb
Sure.
did. And Caleb, I want to hear some of your poetry.
I know. Maybe send us some of your poetry.
Yeah. Send us a poet and a question. Oh,
that would be fun. Ooh, I like that.
nah, don't know if that's a
Question
thing.
and a poem and a question. Okay, anyway.
Anyways, we'll be right back, and we're going to get into the nitty gritty of I Won't Let You Go. Healthy relationships are foundational to a happy life, but they require a complex set of skills. And because we develop these skills over time and to varying degrees, and we all goof up, relationships get messy. I like that.
That's a really good quote.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah. I Won't Let You Go. Track 6? 5? I don't remember what track it is.
5, because Anxious is 4.
5.
And we're
track
going
5.
We're going in order, so I think it's 5.
Yes, it is 5. That's correct. Track 5.
Sweet.
I Won't Let You Go.
If you could only let go of your doubts, if you could just believe in me now, oh, I swear that I won't let you go. I won't let you go.
This was a song from Switchfoot that they did with Lauren Daigle. And both of those artists, huge fans of. Obviously, Lauren Daigle can sing the book. And so, yeah, we've done some shows with Switchfoot, and they're as genuine as, you hope they'd be. Great guys. And, yeah, so this one is one of those that when we were looking for songs that we could relate to, this was one of a big one, listening to those lyrics was, I mean, at least for me, especially, listening to those lyrics was just, it was just connected immediately. It was just one of those, like a lot of these on this album where it was instantly like, we're definitely doing this one. So, and it was already in duet form, so didn't have to do a whole lot with the vocal arranging. It was already arranged, and just put our voices to it and did our spin to it. So, yeah, it was fun. But, yeah. Why did we choose this song?
Well, I think you said it.
Yeah.
I mean, really, why? Because I found it and I was pushing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were.
Because for me, I think that it's deeply meaningful and it's personal to our marital journey. I think that the verses, the chorus, I mean, everything about it reflects our journey and how difficult it's been and how there's just so many real parts in this song that deeply resonate with us. So I think that's why we chose it.
Yeah. Agreed.
And the only other thing I'll say about this song, like without trying to go into all the lyrics, because there's like certain ones that they're so good. I just want to say with the craziness that 2020 has been, right? I mean, I feel like I've seen those memes on Facebook that everybody was like, 2020 is my year. And then it's like, hopefully 2021 will be my year. Like, it's just been a crazy year. And there's something unsettling, like unsettled in me. I don't feel like it's over. Like, I feel like things are going to get maybe even a little crazier if they ever do settle down again. I don't know. But that's just my intuition. I could be totally wrong. But this song, I mean, I think that it's so relevant to current 2020 day-to-day life. I think that this song is a reminder for me to hold on to those that I love even closer. And I feel like often I think about, well, this is going to be morbid, but I think about death. Like, life is so fragile. It really is. And it's so easy to get caught up in the distraction, the busyness of life, and not to, just to be distracted. And this song is a reminder for me to be close and love the people that I love well, and to show them that I love them, and to be present in the relationships with those people. So, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Do you have the lyrics up in front of you?
I do.
Read the first verse into the pre-chorus for me, because those were like, those lyrics for me were just instantly like, oh,
I know.
my gosh,
And then, of course, my
so
chorus, which we've talked about how we intentionally chose, parts for one another. My chorus is
That's true. Yeah. When we were even arranging vocals and stuff, it was very specific on what connects with each of us.
Yes.
So that was a cool part about this song.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
When it feels like surgery and it burns like 3rd degree, and you wonder, what is it worth? When your inside's breaking in and you feel that ache again, and you wonder what's giving birth. So good. And then my chorus is, when your fear is currency and you feel that urgency, you want peace, but there's war in your head. Maybe that's where life is born, when our facades are torn. Yes. Pain gives birth to the promise ahead. Like, just rip my heart open. Like, it's just so good. This song is, the whole
lyrics.
song is wonderful.
Yeah. John Foreman is a writer. Let me tell you. He's a writer. But yeah. And that all ties in. A lot of that ties into a lot of what we talked about last episode on anxious, anxiety. Because a lot of that is the control and the fear.
Yes.
He talks a lot about that. And then oftentimes we've talked so much about how, the strongest people, the healthiest people out there are the ones who usually have gone through hell and gone through a lot. And so that first verse of, talking about that essentially, I mean, and so it's just a good reminder, for that as well, that even though it may feel like the world is crumbling, if you can do the work, sometimes it takes that to go to God and need God, and then need to connection and need to start doing the deep work. Sometimes it takes that to get us there. Yeah. And so,
and that's
what's giving birth? That's like that line. It's just like, Anyways.
And that's what I was going to say is, like, it's not even about like going through it. It's about like being intentional. Cause a lot of people, they go through hell, but they're not like, they're distracting, they're coping with maladaptive coping mechanisms and not doing the work to grow and just get to the other side, right? Like, I think that is very common because it's hard. It's hard to feel all the feelings and like, do all of it, do all the work and go through it. And so, I mean, it's just wonderful. I think that it shows like, yes, like getting in it and really going through and putting in the time, feeling the feelings, working hard. It's the pain that moves you to change, right? Yeah, like it's definitely the pain of something more beautiful, something different coming out on the other side. And it's just very interesting how that happens.
My wife had a great idea for this little section. We're going to play kind of a little game.
Ooh, games!
It wasn't really intended to be a game, but it kind of quickly turned into that. I was like, we should like write down 5 things.
I love games.
That feel important to each of us in relationships, and we should both have our own list. And then she was talking about like, us knowing what they were ahead of time. And I was like, how about we do that, but we don't share with each other what we put as our top 5 things that are most important to us in relationships until we do the episode. And then we could see if we match up, how many we match up with.
I'm nervous.
If any at all. And then we're like, oh man, we're still so far from each other. I was kidding. But and we'll go to our counselor like, so this just happened.
So we did this thing on our podcast. You probably heard it.
I'm nervous.
Just kidding.
So all that to say, you read your first one. Okay. These again, 5 things that feel important to me in relationships for each of us.
Okay.
And then you give me one and I'll see if I have one written down that is like yours.
I like it. Ready?
Okay. Yep.
Number 1. boundaries, individual and relational.
That's a great one. I don't have that technically.
Ooh, interesting.
I have something that close, but I wouldn't say it is it. So can't say it matches up.
Yeah, so boundaries.
Talk about it.
They're really important.
Very important.
Please. This book is amazing. In full disclosure, I read it years ago. I mean, it's been a little while. I'm holding up, for those listening on audio, I'm holding up Boundaries in Marriage by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend.
Boom.
Yeah, this book rocked my world. And then, so I read it years ago. I mean, it is so worn. I have all the things written in it. Anyways, I had a friend recently tell me that she and her husband were reading this, and I was reminded, like, oh, that book is so dang good. And so I was sitting here before we did this, looking through it, and I need to read it again and take like more notes.
Yeah,
I mean, it is amazing.
I read like half of it a long time ago, and I need to reread it and read the whole thing for sure. I have a long list of books to read.
I know, me too. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this book, just real quick, I'll tell you like the contents. And so part 1 is Understanding Boundaries. Part 2, which is huge. I think a lot of people don't know what boundaries. I mean, I entered this whole world and I was like, what is a boundary? How do I, what? Like, how do I do that? It's a journey. It's very hard. Oh, it's very hard, but it's worth it. I promise. Okay. So part 1 was Understanding Boundaries. Part 2, Building Boundaries in Marriage. So stinking good. I mean, there's all these values. Oh, they're so good. And then part 3 is Resolving Conflict in Marriage, which is right. Like I really think the core of our relationships is how we navigate conflict, because that is, like we talked about before, that is where, you can really hurt somebody. Anyways. And then part 4 is Misunderstanding Boundaries in Marriage. Y'all, it's just a good book. If you're in a relationship, I know that it says in marriage, but really, if you're dating anything, read it. It is so stinking good. So, Caleb.
Yep. Boom.
It's so good.
Yeah. It's
okay.
Great. Anyways,
your turn.
So we might be a little different on this one, just because of the fact that I thought more in relationship to a marriage.
Okay.
That's where my head went.
Yeah.
And I think you probably went a little more relationships in general. All the same. I mean, they probably still tie in, but I'm. All right. So number 1 for me actually ties in similar response I gave Caleb on his question. Number 1 is I put do your own inner work, and that it starts with you.
That's really good.
I think that is unbelievably important. And like I said earlier, it's just, I mean, if your only concern is your spouse's happiness, your spouse ain't gonna be happy.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be happy. And it's how how it is. And that's how so many marriages are, where like it's one person is passive, the other person's aggressive.
Yes.
And so you got the passive person being like, whatever you want, honey. And that just leads to so much, resentment on both ends, honestly. Anyways, so
that just made me think, in this book, it talks about how you have to come to the relationship as a whole person. And it goes in depth about that, like the things about what not to do. I'm like looking for it. It's just so, it has a whole section about it.
Yeah. Like even for us, like when we started couples counseling, like what was most important for both of us was our own work. And we only came to couples counseling when we felt like we have taken time for ourselves and our own work to be able to show up to the marriage and show up to marriage, conflict resolution and all that stuff. Because without the inner work, I mean, there's just no point in even doing that part of it. So, yeah.
That's so good.
Looking for a quote?
Yes. It just made me, marriage is not meant to be the place where one gets completed as a person. This book talks about completing versus complementing each other, right? Like you show up as a whole person, not a half person. Like you're not in relationship with another human so they can complete you, but complement your weaknesses.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Oh man, this was tough. This was a lesson.
If I don't take that book from you, you're gonna want to read it during the.
Y'all, it's just.
She's a big fan.
I love it. Right, that was good.
I'm gonna give my next one, number 2, and see if it lines up for you.
Okay.
ask for what you need.
Oh, that's good.
Not for you? Nothing on there? Nothing like that? Oh, shoot. Well, we're 0 for 2. Ask for what you need. And yeah, that's one of the ones that I came into marriage not doing.
Same.
Yeah. And so
neither of us had a voice.
No.
And we do now. And we're learning how to.
Although I would say on your end, from my perspective, it was you would ask for what you need, but you wouldn't ask. You would project.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. It was passive.
Yeah.
Which is, is passive.
Oh, yeah. A lot of things.
Yeah.
So anyways, it's pretty self-explanatory.
That was really good.
Good.
Okay. So my number 2 is equal and shared partnerships. So it actually could kind of go along the same. And what I mean by that is no one is on a power play. No one has the upper hand. Which I think that's maybe how we operated for a while. And my goal and what I want as a human just to be better at is to create more of an equal partnership, right? Like you don't have more of a say. I don't have more of a say. Like we come at it in equality, in a shared experience. We show up and we negotiate in a healthy, structured way. So that actually can go kind of with yours was more specific, like ask for what you need. I think that is really important in an equal partnership. You have to ask for what you need.
I'll give us 1/4 of a point.
0.25. Okay, ready?
Yeah. What's your number 3?
Number 3. So this one is like a lot of little things in like one. Okay. So just hang in there with me. Okay.
I'm hanging.
So a few things, again, if you're still with us, a few things that feel important to us in relationships. 3 for me is trust, honesty, and intimacy.
You gave 3 answers in one. It's okay though.
But so trust and honesty kind of right, they go hand in hand, and then intimacy I think is built with the trust and honesty. So, and then I want to break down, hang in there. Intimacy in a relationship is built on 5 things. That is intellectual intimacy, spiritual intimacy, emotional intimacy, physical intimacy, and experiential intimacy. So
don't say too much on intimacy because we have a whole episode on intimacy from our song Into.
I know. I just wanted to give a little nugget of knowledge.
I like the nuggets of knowledge.
Okay.
I happen to have an answer that I would say lines up with that.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
It was actually my most important one of the 5.
Oh.
I put rigorous honesty.
Oh yes.
To be completely vulnerable with each other because true intimacy can never be achieved when you carry secrets.
Yeah.
So that pretty much lines up with the same what you just said.
You get a cookie. That
Thanks.
was a really good answer.
I love a cookie right now.
I know, me too. Should we go get cookies?
Yes, please.
That was a great answer.
Yeah. I mean, I had to learn that, of course, the hard way, I had to learn that the hard way. I kept tons of secrets from you. And even when I was in recovery, and I had, and you had discovered some stuff of the secrets yourself. And I then, maybe shared a little bit more of stuff that were secrets. It was still a small percentage of what all the secrets I had were. And I told myself, and it took years to get to the place of realizing, as much as I heard that you cannot heal from this, you cannot heal as a married couple, you cannot experience true intimacy with your spouse, all the things, as much as I heard that from everybody in the program, my ego was still like, nah, you can recover. You can have all those things. She doesn't need to know this stuff. It will only make things worse, and that's talk about a societal condition. I mean, that whole mindset of what she doesn't know won't hurt her. It's just, it's just so untrue.
And I think that goes back years, generations.
Oh yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Gosh, it's so untrue. It will hurt her in ways that you don't even realize is happening.
Are manifesting.
They manifest. Yeah.
Yeah.
They manifest in you.
Yeah.
Because you cannot heal or have personal growth or just in yourself. You cannot have those things when you're carrying secrets. It doesn't work. And your ego will tell you, we'll fight that to the death. But I promise you, it is not
because
true.
you're harming yourself. And I think that gets lost. Like a lot of people think like, I'm going to harm the other person. There's no need. When in reality, like it's even more personal. Like you're harming. So at least this is my understanding, is you're harming yourself when those things are not. You're only as sick as your secrets. Mm-hmm. That's a saying in 12-step recovery, and it's
true.
so true.
And and your ego will tell you differently, and will fight you to the death. And it took me years. It took me rock bottom. Of times where I fully convinced myself that you didn't need to know, that it was fine, but you did. And I needed to tell it. I needed to share it. Even for me, like I needed you to know the darkest things about me, not only for my own growth and healing, but for your growth and healing. And the fact that, you as my spouse deserve to make an informed decision on whether or not to even be in the marriage.
Right. And that's an individual right.
Like, who am I to not give you that right to make that informed decision? You know what I mean? So anyways, rigorous honesty.
I love that. That's
so we
really
matched
good.
on one.
We
High
did.
five. High five.
We did it.
All right. My turn. Now it's 4 for me. Yeah. Number 4. I just put simply time spent with each other is very important.
Yes.
It is so easy to forget that, it's so easy to let work and let other things get in the way. And then by time spent, I don't mean just sit next to each other watching movies.
I was about to say, clarify.
Yeah. I mean like one-on-one, look each other in the eye time. And I say that as somebody who still struggles with that. I'm not perfect at that and by any means. Like that's something I'm still working on and learning and getting better at. But time, and I put it all capital.
That's amazing. You were like speaking to my heart.
Because there can be no healing. There can be no intimacy. There can be none of that without the time spent. And that goes for all relationships, with friendships too. Only the relationships that are, you put in the time, at some point we should talk about the friendship triangle, whatever it's called.
Oh my gosh,
pretty
that's
cool.
great.
Yeah. We can talk about that at some point, but
we should even, we need to whip out, but we need to whip out the green triangle and the red triangle that we learned in one of our first intensives.
Yeah.
Oh my, that rocked my world. We're going to do it.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
Yeah, we're going to post it.
Maybe we'll do a bonus episode where we just talk about that or something.
That would be
we'll figure it
awesome.
out, but we should do that for sure.
Yeah. Well, in the intimacy episode, we could get into that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
For sure.
Cool.
We could talk about friend-intimacy in that if we want to, the friend triangle.
Yeah.
Anyways, so your turn.
So I kind of had one like that. So I'll bump that one up. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it kind of fits in that, but I put shared enjoyable activities, time, and humor.
Shared enjoyable activities.
Yes. And humor.
I like it.
Yeah. Like those feel really important. Okay. So shared enjoyable activities is the time. I mean, anything that, because that creates compatibility. And if we like certain things and, together that we can do, then that creates intimacy, which goes back to the experiential intimacy. Mm-hmm. And then humor. If I've learned anything in recovery, it is that humor is really important. Because recovery can feel not humorous at all. And life, honestly, life can feel very weighted. I'll just say that. So humor is really important.
It is.
It's really important to laugh with one another and be able to joke with one another. And
I remember early on when I was started the program or whatever, and I would share with you like things that like essentially that like, you know, I would reference the fact that we were all laughing at something in a meeting or whatever. And like, and I remember early on, you were just kind of like, what are you laughing about? What is to laugh about? You know what I mean? But
that's probably because I wasn't in my own recovery yet.
That's a normal response for everyone who just, you know, is obviously wounded by that. So anyways, I just thought that's funny.
But I
it's
get
just,
it
you have to
now.
laugh. Like you have to laugh. It's important.
Yeah. And it is funny. I mean, being in the rooms, you know, for years now, I mean, there are just things that you just, and like the craziest things. And I understand. And it's funny because we have a shared common experience on certain things. It's funny. And it helps me feel like I belong.
Yeah.
So that could be in friendships too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Last one.
Yep. Is this you? Yep.
It is.
Go ahead.
I think. Yeah. You just went. Yeah. Okay. So my last one is commitment and fidelity.
Commitment and fidelity.
That feels like a huge staple in importance of relationship. So that is marital. Yeah. Yeah. Or sure. Relational.
Yeah. And I think that's self-explanatory.
Yep. It is. It's very important.
Yeah. Very important. For me, my last one is communicate feelings and needs.
Okay.
Which, is again something that for most of our marriage was not something I believed in at all.
I know.
Like I was the guy who I didn't want to feel anything negative at all. I didn't want to feel anything, you know.
It's because you're a 7 on the
I'm a 7 on the Enneagram and an addict, you know, and so I didn't want to feel things. I'd rather that would turn into numbing and all that fun stuff. So I say fun very exaggeratingly.
That's actually.
So anyway, just to make sure everyone knows, it's an exaggerated, sarcastic.
I was about to say
the word I'm looking for. A sarcastic fun. Anyway, so yeah, communicating feelings and needs. I mean, you know, my wife did our whole marriage just. What, you know, used to do it in an unhealthy way, now does it in a healthy way of structure way of doing it, of communicating feelings, because my wife, Enneagram 4, feels all the things, and she's all over. Actually a good thing. It's not she's all thing. Over the map in feelings.
Just saying.
Yeah, but there's a line which we can talk about too. But
all feelings are good.
All feelings are good. I'm not saying that. All feelings are good. 100%. Agree with you on that. So, anyways,
but there is a way to. Navigate, navigate them.
Yeah. Because sometimes people say hear like, you know, like you need to feel all the things, and it's just like, all right, well, I'm gonna let it all, no matter what. No, like regulating feelings is important, but it is important to communicate them. And so, for most of our marriage, I resented my wife hard for constantly sharing her feelings toward me, things she needs from me. Like it was just a constant, like, oh my gosh, what now? You know? And I'm over here like never ever needing or sharing anything from my wife. You know what I mean? And so it was just always like this. For me, her emotions and feelings were unhealthy, and were like, oh my gosh, get help. Like you feel all the time. Stop feeling, you know? And I am now putting this on my top 5 as in important in a relationship, because the ironic thing is, ever since we started in the right way, communicating our feelings, either feelings we have toward each other or needs we have for like from each other, or even just feelings that are going on somewhere completely different than the marriage, which is, you know, usually most of them. It's just so vitally important. All I'd say, it's made us so much stronger as a married couple. You know what I mean? Like me knowing what's going on with you, and even if it's about me, then learning to not take it like in a I'm a piece of crap, you know, way, which is shame, you know, which is where I would usually go, but being able to hear her when she is expressing feelings to me, hear it and not hear it and just be thinking about how I'm going to defend myself around this, you know what I mean? Because I don't have to agree with the stuff, because sometimes she can bring me feelings of that around me that may have really nothing to do with me, and she may or may not figure that out, and I may or may not even be right about that. It may completely have to do with me, like, I don't know. But either way, like, I don't have to agree with it. I just need to listen and hear it, you know? And then make her feel heard, which is super important in that. So I'll have to say, communicating feelings and needs.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's stupid important.
And you don't think it is, but once you start doing it and you start practicing it, it becomes
I think that's societal too.
Yeah, for sure. Lots of stuff.
Family role. I mean, there's so many. It's so layered.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would love to share just a little bit, just a quick bit about kind of from a counseling standpoint. I don't know if I think we've talked about them before, but the Gottmans. And so they have this a sound relationship house theory that is so good. I really enjoyed learning about it. There's a picture of it. And so if you want to, just Google it. And you can find it, but I'm going to read them real quick. So commitment and trust are on the walls. They make up the walls of the house. And then there's different layers in the center that make up the house into the roof. Cool. Okay. So from the bottom, it starts build love maps, which what that means is like knowing one another's inner worlds. So knowing like Chad's like lens, worldview, how he perceives things, vice versa, your partner, you know, that is what that is. Getting to know the other person intimately. Number 2 would be share fondness and admiration. So it's the kindness, fondness for your partner, all the good things.
All good things.
Oh, Allah. Okay. Turn towards instead of away. This is huge. When I was learning about this, I mean, my jaw was just on the ground. Like, this is amazing. So that means like I won't go into all of it, but there are cues, right? Nonverbal cues, verbal cues that we all have in relationships. It's like the unspoken rules of relationships that we have. So if I am saying something like I'm cooking and I'm wanting Chad's input and I make like a statement about something or ask a question, him not responding to me is turning away. Like him hearing me making the choice to not respond, that's turning away from a partner. Another example of that would be, I'm trying to think of another example. So not responding, I was going to say like having a strong like emotional like reaction or disagreement, like that doesn't feel like turning towards, like that feels like turning away, which that could be different for everybody. But turning towards me would be an answer, would be turning body, like the nonverbal cues. That would be looking at the person or being invested in the relationship. So there's that. It's very important. Like that is one of the most, they can predict divorce. It's a whole, they have a whole thing. It's amazing. And that is one of the biggest predictors is like, I mean, the 4 horsemen, which we've talked about before, those are big, but this is a very subtle thing that can predict divorce is turning away or turning towards is huge. It's a big deal. The positive perspective, I could spend hours talking about this. You know, all of us, I mean, I've been in therapy long enough to know that all of us, we can go to the negative side of things. We can immediately go to assuming that our partner is meaning the worst of the worst things about what they said and the tone and all of it. So the positive perspective would be stopping, asking, what did you mean? Or even in our head, just choosing to think, you know, there's an alternative to this. So some people do it more than others, but I think it's a kind of universal thing. Managing conflict. This is a whole thing with the Gottmans. There's like 3 to 4 different, you know, avenues where you can do this in a positive, healthy way. It's so important. It's very fascinating. Read about it if you'd like. So managing conflict is huge. make life dreams come true. Like that's like so important. Like the other person having dreams and aspirations and being supportive and encouraging on those things. And then the last one is create shared meaning. And so that can be like the experiential, intimacy activities that we talked about. That can be like, we both love to travel. Like as some of you know, like we love to travel. And so that is creating shared meaning, is us coming up with a place we want to go because this has been a dream of ours. And so it's kind of like the last two together, but, yeah, we're creating a life that is important to both of us, that honors both of us, and it's really important.
That's great.
So anyways, that's their it's the Gottman Sound Relationship House, and it's wonderful.
How can people get
You can Google
that?
it.
You can Google it.
Yep, you can Google it about it. They have a website, and you can go to, they have classes that you can take. They have retreats that you can go. I mean, they are the full package. They're amazing. So
Sweet.
yeah, I think it's, I could look it up real quick, but it's gottmaninstitute.com.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all so much. That is our episode of I Won't Let You Go.
Yes.
7th episode.
We did it.
Yeah. We thank you all so much for tuning in and listening.
Yes,
Please send in
thank
those
you.
questions.
Yeah, please do.
findinguspodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Please follow us on all the socials if you don't already. Finding Us Band, I think for Instagram, and Finding Us Band on Facebook, or just Finding Us.
I think Finding Us.
Finding Us. Anyways, come follow us. We also have a YouTube channel, Finding Us YouTube channel. So come find us. We love you all.
Love
Thank
you guys.
for tuning in. Hope you all have a lovely rest of the week. This is Finding Us the Podcast.
With Chad and Fallon.